whole interview.
I need to ask you a question that I get asked every single day. And that is, Mike, what are they doing? Are we going into another lockdown? Is this a repeat of what we've already been through?
I started to learn about the plan for right now when I was recruited to business owners meeting in Atlanta, Georgia. You know, people ask me why I was recruited. I can only guess. I don't have the answer because I totally didn't fit into this group. You know, maybe they wanted to know what I knew. I'm not sure. But anyhow, this group, which still exists here in Atlanta, talked about starting something in 2020, which they would put a substance inside all the human bodies so that they could pretty much spy and do surveillance on everybody wirelessly. And then it would be hooked up to the health application on our phones. So this was in the end of 2014. When I went, now I'm not a very political person. I don't do Chamber of Commerce or anything, but I was under a lot of pressure back then because of what I was discovering. I was diagnosing different tick illnesses, Mycoplasma pneumoniae, which now is they're declassified as bioweapons. I'm very good at pattern recognition, so I was really good at picking up the day it started in the area and the day it stopped. The day it started, the day it stopped. So as you can tell, things should not start in one day or stop in one day if it's from nature. Obviously, this was being induced. So when I was, identifying these, because I'm just made a good educated guess and I got the labs to prove it, I had the red alerts go off with the CDC, the Public Health Department, and an investigator from the federal government. I didn't expect this. I was just trying to be a good doctor. To shorten this, when they said you need to stop diagnosing people. So meaning we don't need this knowledge to get out, just stop diagnosing them. And then they became interested because I was able to clear out one of them called Mycoplasma pneumonia from the human body because I was getting all the labs, all the antibody levels afterward too. So I was being very thorough. This is when I really learned what was going on because they said, the internal investigator told me, how are you clearing it out of the body? You shouldn't be able to do that. We need to know how you're doing that. This was obviously a big clue that this was intended to stay in the human body. Mycoplasma pneumonia is technically called the walking pneumonia. That's what doctors are taught. But when you go back into like the 1950s, you'll see this was one of the first bioweapons, the biggest one. It's still the biggest one used around the world. It has many different functions. It can cause cancers and autoimmune and Gulf War syndrome and you name it. Or just walking pneumonia. It's actually sci-fi. It actually has nanotechnology associated with it. So I just kind of walked innocently into this mess. I didn't mean to do it, but it just happened. And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time because in Atlanta, Georgia, there's the CDC, right? So again, these are divine appointments. God put me in this place at this time. And it's my duty to take care of people. It's my duty to do my best. It's my duty to do this, right? Now, 2 infectious disease doctors were run out of the state because they were doing the same thing. Some other doctors and all the other doctors caved in. They just gave in and they just did whatever the entities told them to do. At that time, that's when I got invited to be part of this group. And they said, perhaps if you were part of this group, maybe you would have protection with this group and some of your problems would go away. And I was thinking this was just like a Chamber of Commerce and maybe they're your buddies. I was very, very innocent back then. I just didn't know any better, honestly. So I said, okay, they did background checks. And then here's one of the meetings. I finally went to this meeting and it was the most important meeting of all of them. And again, a divine appointment. Everybody had to be bussed in. When we got to the location, all the cell phones were jammed. I'd never had that happen before. And also they locked the doors, chained them. And so when I got upset by this is not normal. I asked to leave, to go outside to see if I could use my phone. They laughed, they let me outside, but the phone didn't work. And where am I going to get a car? I had to go back in. So I went back in to my table. Some people, milling around, asked me what I did. I said, I'm an internal medicine doctor. They immediately rolled their eyes and said, what good are you to us? The first thing one of the people told me is, we don't need doctors because soon our bodies will be changed and we don't need that. And so I was kind of confused about that. So I was out of a fish out of water. There was CNN there and people from like Delta. They're big companies, big tech companies, of course. The big topic was, this is some new technology that we have approved to use. Their start date would be 2020, and that they were solving a problem that they had. The problem for the business owners was that they were having a hard time getting businesses from overseas to come to Atlanta. This was their excuse. And that the problem was the people of Metro Atlanta were not very smart. This is what they said. They were too racist and they are not amenable to new culture. So how do we fix them? So they had technology that could fix people fast. Honestly, this is absolutely was discussed. So at the time, the health app was not downloaded on our phones, but Sanjay Gupta, the doctor from CNN, you might recognize him. And just so you know, in the last few years, Sanjay Gupta, the same doctor, has been working with Sesame Street and all the public school systems. He has made many videos to encourage children and to manipulate them and to brainwash them into getting the vaccines, even if your parent says no. And he's actually got Sesame Street characters he works with, and he tells the children they'll become superheroes. He has a solution to make people healthier if they don't lie. If you lie, you're not healthy. This is his thing. If you don't lie, you'll be a healthier person. That's just how he thinks of it. So they formulated this technology that if they can get the substance inside the body, now they didn't tell us how they would get the substance inside the body, but they did mention a company called Profusa. I think you can still look them up on YouTube. They're a DARPA company, which they promote having some hydrogel, it's a substance, hydrogel, put inside the body. Once it's inside the body, it can monitor many different things in the body wirelessly and wirelessly transmit the data to a cell phone or computer, whatever. So they were talking about this is great for diabetics with blood sugar levels, insulin levels, maybe if you have a heart dysrhythmia. However, in this meeting, he said that would be the technology and that they would monitor it specifically for lying. And that they're one of many cities that got approved for this, but their parameter was lying. So that got me thinking that perhaps other cities had other parameters. Anyhow, he said, imagine two women are talking on the phone. One woman would say to the other, I'm sorry, I'm not at the restaurant yet. I know I'm late, but I'm just at the gym working out. I'll be there soon. Well, the phone, the program in the health app would know the woman was lying immediately in a millisecond because it would know her GPS. It would know that she's really at a bar drinking alcohol because also her blood alcohol content would be elevated. It would know she's taking a prescription medicine, who made the prescription medicine, how much she was taking. It would know her thoughts, 85% accuracy, they said, mostly by voice inflection. Voice inflection can tell you all kinds of things. It would know by her sweat glands, electrodermal analysis. It's on par with the polygraph test of the police station. They said it's just as good. They would also know her heart rate, that she's sedentary, she's not working out. We could go on and on. That the program would know she's lying within a millisecond. The program would immediately give her an instant repercussion. He told the audience that the woman she was lying, so she would get she would get a shock. The audience did gasp at this. He said, oh, you don't like the word shock. What if I use the word buzz? Are you okay with that?